15 मिनट के बाद.
Please go ahead, sir. We are live now.
Thank you so much, Anup. So, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, our faculties and students from across the nation. Myself, Neeraj Arora. I am Senior Director at ASSOCHAM and look after the GEM Green Building Certification Program of ASSOCHAM. I would like to welcome you all from ASSOCHAM GEM Green Building Council to this wonderful webinar on GEM Green Building Certification Program. So friends, as you all know that we have already done 6 webinars on this subject. In this webinar, we explain you all about GEM Sustainability Certification Program and will give you the brief on GEM Certified Professional Online Examination also. So as a trend, we have invited our special guest for today's webinar from across the nation. You will be surprised to know that we have speakers from Gujarat, Karnataka, Odisha, Rajasthan, Maharashtra, Delhi. So starting with Mr. Pankaj Dharkarji. Pankaj Dharkarji is the chairman for ASSOCHAM GEM Green Building Council and is the president Pankaj Dharkar Associates. We have with us Professor S.S. Ray Sahab, who is the chairman ASSOCHAM GEM Odisha chapter and is the director School of Architecture and Planning, KIT University. Welcome, sir. We have architect Leena Kumar, chairperson ASSOCHAM GEM Karnataka chapter and principal architect Kumar Consultants. Welcome, madam. We have architect Roshni Udewar Yehuda, co-chairperson ASSOCHAM GEM Maharashtra chapter and director Roshni Udewar and Associates. Welcome, madam. We have 2 speakers, one from ASSOCHAM and one from Design to Occupancy. We have Mr. Shubhabrata Rath, joint director GEM Green Building Certification Program. Welcome, Shubha. And Mr. Kishan Khatri, senior manager Design to Occupancy Services Limited. So welcome. And at the end, we will have Mr. Ashu Gupta also, managing partner Design to Occupancy. So friends, next 2 hours, it is going to be very exciting for all of us. And I'm really glad to share that we have got 1500 plus registrations for this webinar. So thank you so much for your overwhelming response. Now, I would like to invite our chairman, Mr. Pankaj Dharkarji. Dharkarji is the chairman of ASSOCHAM GEM Green Building Council and is the president Pankaj Dharkar and Associates. He has wonderful experience of thousands of projects, including MEP, Green Building Certification, and he has chaired the Fire and Security Association of India as president and international president. He is the past president of ISHRE also. And I would like to add here that under his able leadership, this GEM Green Building Certification Program has touched many heights. So thank you so much, Dharkar Saab, and over to you now.
Thank you, Neeraj, for that introduction, and my special thanks goes to Roshni ji from Mumbai, S.S. Ray Sahab from Odisha, and Leena ji from Bangalore, and of course our dear friends Shubh and Neeraj, of course, coming from our ASSOCHAM headquarters from Delhi, and of course I'm looking forward for a session from Kishan and also from Ashu Gupta, who is going to join us a little later. So can you see my screen?
Yes, sir. Please make it full screen. That's it.
Yes.
Okay. So friends, ASSOCHAM Green GEM Certification Program is started by ASSOCHAM, and we have 400 chambers, more than 4.5 lakhs members. We are serving nation from 1920, and our whole objective is to work towards creating a conducive environment for India to business compete globally. You would have heard many chambers in the country, MCCI, PhD Chamber of Commerce, and they are all part of ASSOCHAM. So we have taken this green initiative to care for Mother Earth and to complement India's sustainability movement, and have formed this CGEM with a clear objective to promote environment-friendly green building designs and construction. Friends, our program is completely based on Ecbc 2017 and National Building Code of 2016, and we do believe these are 2 wonderful documents which our architects and engineers have given to not only country but to the globe. This program includes sustainability, energy, water efficiency, green areas, indoor air quality, daylight, fresh air, and human comfort, and also fire and life safety is a unique feature which we feel is an important aspect when you design a built environment. So this is something unique which our program gives, and with the COVID time, there are a lot of additions happening on the infection-free environment. Our program starts from GEM 1 to GEM 5, GEM 5 being the highest. And of course, my friends are going to tell you more about it, so I'm not taking more time, but just to give a perspective of it. And we do believe that any green building certification program will definitely give you a payback. And we all know that buildings are made for 50 years and above, while these paybacks will come back in 3 to 4 years. In many cases, there are no additional costs. Friends, we are driving this program with several engineering and architectural associations which are serving to the built environment, which includes some national societies like NIRI, ISHRE, FSCI, GACS, Smart Habitat Foundation, ISLE, that is Indian Society of Lighting Engineers. Then we have NAREDCO, and also Indian Institute of Architects, and few international societies like IAQA, which addresses the indoor air quality from USA, and ASHRE, which is American Society of Heating Refrigerating Engineers, which happens to be the world organization which sets standards for air conditioning and refrigeration. Friends, ASSOCHAM GEM is the newest program among the 4 other programs, but it is slowly getting recognized quickly in this pandemic time. Also, we have got good recognitions. Currently, Rajasthan government recognizes this with other green building certification, and also an important financial organization, CRISIL, is also putting GEM along with other certification agencies. We started our mission going to 20 states and 5 adjoining countries under the able leadership of architect Tushar Soganiji. And you could see here we have now reached 9 states, and we are pushing forward for other states with our chapters. And you can see today we have 3 chapter leaders from Maharashtra, from Orissa, and from Maharashtra, Orissa, and also Karnataka with us today to address you. Friends, we have currently certified varieties of projects, which includes Abbott as a pharmaceutical project, Hilton hotel chain, ITC chain, several universities you can see are part of our certification program, and also large airports and railway stations. To our certified projects, we ultimately give this nice plank and certificate, which I am very happy that the directors and organizations are taking pride to put them into their front lobbies or the director's cabin. Recently, we also certified a very prestigious project, which is first of its kind in the country, where upon a railway station, a luxurious hotel got built for Leela Kempinski Leela, and this is certified GEM 5 rated, which is a recent achievement of GEM. Also, I mean, you can see here the managing director of the Garud who built this, the certificate was given. Also, very important Katarpur land project terminal, which is very unique. All of you would have known, got GEM certified. The Chennai airport got GEM certified, and also the Baroda airport. So you can see here, and this is in Noida, which is again a project where it's a IT related, IT and ITS project, which also got GEM certified. Our main mission has been to reach you, my students, my future generation, who was extremely important to us. We know that architects and engineers who if they practice green and sustainability, that is going to really change the world, and India specifically. So with that mission, we started Mission 100, and currently we have now 70 plus universities and engineering colleges who are partnering along with GEM certification. We have now 800 plus GEM certified professional, and today is a fascinating day for GEM because 1500 registrations. And friends, if you want to take real advantage of this COVID time, you could definitely, and our exam is transparent. It is, you can use your books and do that from home. And of course, our team is going to tell more about it, but be GEM certified and have that kind of, I would say, a pride attached to your professional achievements, which will happen. Friends, during this pandemic, we created several interesting programs, which also includes one important mission which we are doing with Bureau of Energy Efficiency, BEE, wherein we are talking about how do we create the current buildings more green, and how do we change those technologies without owners' money. And this is what we are driving with the help of World Bank and Bureau of Energy Efficiency, and we did several programs. We also created through the help of ISHRE, FSAI, EMA, IPA, and GSCS guidelines for post-COVID lockdown opening, and this was well taken by 29 states and 6 union territories. With support of all the team leaders which you are seeing on the screen, during the pandemic, we created 90 webinars, 82,000 plus registrations, 70,000 attendees, 9 chapters, 13 MOUs, and 70 universities are now working with GEM. Friends, we started our centenary celebration in 2019, which was attended by Prime Minister himself along with several ministers, and concluded digitally the 100-year celebration with Prime Minister again. And friends, let's please and create a green and environmental sustainable country together with Prime Minister's vision. Thank you once again, Neeraj-ji, Sahu-ji, and also my team leaders from Karnataka, Leena-ji, Sahu-ji from Orissa, and also Roshni-ji from Maharashtra to join me for this today's program and inspiring my future generation, our students. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Darkar-ji. Thank you so much for this wonderful and very energetic message, sir. Now, I would like to invite our next special speaker, architect Roshni Udayawar Yehuda-ji. She is co-chairperson, ASSOCHAM GEM Maharashtra chapter, and is director, Roshni Udayawar and Associates. So, madam, I will not take much time and would like to invite you for your wonderful session. Over to you, madam.
Can I share my presentation? Yes.
Yes,
thank you.
You have the right now.
Yes.
It is visible. Make it full screen.
Yeah. Good morning and greetings to all my co-panelists from ASSOCHAM GEM and to all the participants who are aspiring to be ASSOCHAM GEM professionals, certified GEM certified professionals. Welcome to you, and I will not take much time. I will briefly talk about green buildings, why and what. I hope I'll be able to show you what I have, not without taking much time. So basically, I want to start with why of the whole thing. The biggest challenge that we are facing today is climate change, and as per the latest predictions and projections by World Meteorological Organization, the consequences of climate change, like sea level rise, ocean acidification, submergence of coastal areas, and extreme weather events. These are already happening, and the only things that we can do is to mitigate. Our responsibilities to mitigate, and also at the same time to prepare ourselves to adapt to the climate change issues. Although India is 4th on the whole world list, we our per capita consumption or emission of carbon dioxide is less, mainly because of people from the rural areas, not because of you and me. But so we need to look at how in every possible way we can reduce our carbon emissions. When it comes to buildings, buildings are today the biggest emitters of carbon dioxide, mainly because of the operational energy used in buildings throughout the lifetime. Of course, the use of energy is also going into the embodied energy of materials. In addition, we also consume about 50% of materials used throughout the entire globe, and water consumption, waste that we generate, all of these have been recognized as issues, which is why we are focusing on how to make these buildings less impactful to the environment. Just to show you that in India alone, we still use a lot of coal, which is a fossil fuel based energy, and which causes the emission of carbon dioxide. And in the second graph below, you can see buildings contribute to 29% of this whole energy consumption. So our job is to plug the fossil fuels by reducing energy consumption, both embodied as well as operational. When we talk about materials, we generally don't see what goes behind. A lot of materials that are being used are somehow deforesting the earth, denuding the earth, and therefore we are losing our carbon sinks, which are the forests and the oceans are our biggest carbon sinks today. And apart from the denudation, etc., the process itself of making materials is also of concern because they are taking huge amount of energy and emitting a lot of pollution. A new thing, not so new, maybe 50 years old, is the whole concept of sick building syndrome. We have made our buildings, in the process of making them comfortable and clean and everything, we have also made them sick. And in today's world, where we are talking about COVID and a pandemic like this, we do want to ensure that our buildings have a good indoor environment quality. And this is also one of the reasons why we look at green buildings. So if you want to summarize green buildings, we have all of these aspects, that is energy, water, waste, looking at the thermal, visual and acoustic comfort of the occupants, providing good indoor air quality, abatement of pollution, enhancing the vegetation and biodiversity, and of course following all the regulations and standards. Here the fire safety standards are a very unique feature of GEM, which I would say is not considered in any other green rating systems. So therefore it makes a hell lot of difference. In energy management, I won't go into too many details, but there are three things: passive, active energy. Passive is the building itself, active is all the equipment, and then we have the renewable energy. We have a huge body of knowledge in our passive structures in India, and from there we take the inspiration for our passive aspect of the building. When it comes to active components, we have all the BE rated appliances today, which have a potential, if you see, of reducing the energy consumption between 40 to 60%. So we have a huge way to reduce our energy consumption by using these efficient equipment. And as a country, we have potential for solar, of course, other renewable energy as well, but solar has a huge potential. And just wanted to share this, that we always think it is impossible to use solar in places like Mumbai with all the tall buildings, etc. But this is an example of a housing society in Mumbai which is 20-storied high, 4 buildings, and they have been able to put about 800 kilowatt hour of solar panels on the top of the building. When it comes to water efficiency, we can do, especially in urban areas where we are not very careful about how we use water, we can use drip, we can use all the efficient equipment in order to see that we use less water. And of course, to recycle water, we recently had a seminar on water, and we were saying that almost 90% of the water in wastewater in Israel is recycled and used back into agriculture. These are all wastewater treatment plants, and they are all looking nice. They look like gardens, but actually they don't use much energy and just use the plants to recycle water. So we can do this as well. Materials also, we need to think of using materials which are not going to harm the environment in the long run, biodegradable, much less as possible, local materials, and so on. The new thing that we are coming towards now is net zero and nearly zero, and not just in the part related to energy. Now the Bureau of Energy Efficiency has a definition for nearly zero energy buildings, but we are looking at net zero in almost everything, even water and waste and everything. So this is, we already have a wonderful example here in India of the Paryavaran Bhavan, which is a net zero, in fact, a net zero energy positive building, which is giving energy back into the grid. I just wanted to share with you one example of a toilet project which I did with another Israeli designer, Tamar Akov, in Gujarat, and everything there was part of like a process with which we designed with children itself, of how to use the materials, what kind of shape, design, and we tried to make it as sustainable as possible. A retrofit also has a great, and I won't take much time. So the best example of retrofit is, I think, the Empire State Building, where among other things, they changed the 6,500 windows in the building and made it energy efficient. And in the process, about 38% of energy consumption was reduced of the building. And there are examples of even at a larger scale, like the Masdar Eco City in Abu Dhabi, or if you look at communities, we have Freiburg, we have Oroville, we have various examples all over the world of communities which have gone green. And lastly, I would like to just quote from H. Kumar Vyas's book on design. When we are designing buildings and we are designing cities and communities, we always look at an agent design as an agent of change to enhance and improve our material and our psychological and socio-cultural environments. That's it from me. Thank you so much, and I wish you all the very best in the exams as well as becoming a professional. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Roshni ji. Thank you so much, and I really appreciate the presentations given by the architects, especially because your presentations are really very colorful. So you use all the colors in your presentations and talk about sustainability and building design. So it's really wonderful and amazing. So thank you so much, Roshni ji. And now I would like to invite our special speaker from Karnataka. She is architect Leena Kumar, chairperson ASSOCHAM GEM Karnataka chapter, and principal architect Kumar Consultants. So, madam, we would like to hear from you.
Yes,
over to you, madam.
Yeah. Thank you. I think my screen is already on.
No, Amit, now you have the presenter right here.
Yeah. Okay. I think you can see my screen.
Yes, yes. Make it full screen.
Yes, make it full screen.
In the bottom right.
Yeah.
Done.
Good morning to all the panelists and the attendees on the webinar. ASSOCHAM GEM is really a dynamic organization and serious on the mission of spreading the idea of our responsibility to the earth. And it's therefore really quite a privilege to be on it. Let me start with my presentation. At the core of the idea of a green building is that it improves our quality of life, it creates positive impacts, and preserves precious natural resources. In other words, it has a great happiness quotient. What I will quickly touch upon are small considerations that go into augmenting the idea of the green building concept, which are often not consciously observed, but its impact on creating positive energies is quite high. So this is a small, it's an interior project, but in this, what we have done is we have tried to use, old trunks, we have recycled cans, and the whole idea of reuse is very easily done in an interior. And that's what we would like to show in this. A bit of reuse and a little bit of green, which is really biophilia hypothesis, which says, humans have a very innate connection to nature. And just a touch of it changes the whole impact of a space. When we are designing, now what I'm speaking of is really ideas of a green concept that are perhaps not so technical, but very important in creating an atmosphere of being positive. This is a very small residence, which is 22 feet by 60 feet. And in the middle of it all is a skylight. And when we have spaces that can be used, can be decorated, when you have reasons to celebrate or occasions to celebrate, that's an important aspect of design that really goes a long way to creating positive energies. It's about sunlight, it's about green, it's about spaces that lend itself to being easily celebrated. And you know, we as a people, we celebrate many occasions, we celebrate many festivals, we celebrate family gatherings, and that aspect of a design is quite important. This is another one which says it's about wealth and local sensibilities. So we have, our country is very variable. We have from the rich to the poor. And when we do designs for the wealthy who can afford it, it's always a good idea to use local talent, of which we have plenty. Because if we have 136 crore population, more than that, then each one has a part to play in order to be a happy nation. And part of the whole idea of being green, part of the whole idea of being, you know, what Jem says, a green and eco-friendly movement is involving all of our population. And each one of us have something to contribute. And using local talent, of which we have plenty, is one aspect of it. So in this picture, you know, there's just, there's a painting on the wall. It's a perspective of the Mysore Palace. And you have an artist who just came, he took his pencil, and that's the painting that he created on the wall. And the talent that we have is quite amazing. And each one of us, each drop in the ocean, each citizen of our country has something to contribute. This is another one that says it's using any material that is left over in a site. So when we had a lot of laminates left over, it's very easy to cut them into, you know, shapes, forms, and use them as wall paneling, is what we've done in the wall paneling here. And also the use of materials that are manufactured by the client. These are all small aspects that go into contributing to the whole idea of green, the whole idea of sustainability. So when the client manufactures the material and we use it in his project, it's a very sustainable idea, a notion, and it keeps everybody involved, including the client. This is what I had mentioned earlier about the local craft that we have, and wherever it's possible, we use all of it. Well, I'm from Karnataka, and the artisans that we have for wood inlay work is quite fascinating. So all this work that's been done, this is on a puja room door, and it's wood with an inlay of white marble. And you could actually spend hours just watching what they do, watching how they do, and the joy that it brings, the teamwork that it gets into any construction, into any interior, is quite amazing. And the whole process of coming together, of working together, of being together, of, you know, all our citizens participating in our process of building in whatever way it is. These are all the softer ways. This is an inlay, it's a stainless steel inlay on a wooden panel. And this again is that small little part that you sit on to do pujas, and it's mother of pearl inlay in wood. And you could watch all of them for hours doing it. And I remember a very small incident, you know, when we had the person who was doing inlays working on this. The inauguration was in another month, and he was just hanging around the place. And we said, "Arey, kya yaar, we have to do it quickly. You know, it's a month left, and we're just here." And he says, "No, nahi, madam, aaj nahi hoga. Humko mood ich nahi hai. Bas, nahi hoga." And that's, I think, part of being an artist. And you know, you would take it from him because he was such an involved person. So many times it's all about also being sensitive to what is being done and sensitive to the people whom you're involved with. And the entire process of it should really be a process of happiness and joy. This is another part of it which is really to do with context. It's a house in Mysore. It was for a family that came from Rajasthan. So we used a lot of the material that they liked. It was Dholpur stone, and it's available in Bangalore. I mean, it does come from a long distance, but when we were doing this, it was all available. And we used a design theme that they associate themselves with, which is really arches. And therefore, the whole design was also meant to align with the client who was going to use it. And when that happens, there's a sense of harmony and there's a sense of joy, really, in building this, and later of whoever lived in it. It was a very happy project. Well, nothing comes easy. And the other aspect of it is the amount of time that we spend on detailing and thinking of every item that goes into a design. So if we also have to design something that's green, it is effort, it is thought, it is collective. I'm showing you this because we had done this interior for Meridian Hotel, and we had done the, this is a wooden tea house. It was supposed to resemble a British tea garden. And when we did this, it was all assembled outside. It was made outside and assembled inside. Every bit of this, it's all made in MDF. We had about 4,000 pieces. It was assembled, fully assembled outside. It was all marked, each one of those 4,000 pieces. It was then sprayed. We had it all colored in green and reassembled on the site with the numbering. It was a fantastic effort. It was a great effort. And when you look back on it, there's always a sense of joy that comes from it. And, this was the atrium. When we did this, this was 25 years ago. There was no computers. We couldn't simulate anything. And we had 5-6 designs which we made, which we put up on the skylight, had a look at it, and then chose the design. So anything that we do, when there is effort into detailing, when there's an idea into creating perfection, then there's a lot of it that comes from that also. These are all aspects of creating buildings, interiors that, in a way, it all contributes to the whole idea of a green building, because there are as many aspects to it. We have 136 crore people, and we have 136 crore ideas that come in, and everyone really has a part to it. So apart from the technical aspects of which I'm sure you'll be going through this afternoon, and so I thought I really won't touch upon it, these are the other softer sides of it that go a long way into making buildings green and happy. This was a factory that we had done, and he didn't want to spend any money on it. So we just use Kadapa stones to act as chajjas and create shadows and protect the concrete block wall from rain and direct sunlight. And it's been, I think, 15 years, and the building stands as it is. There's no leakages, no dampness. We've not plastered, we've not painted, we've done nothing. And the building is, the Kadapa always keeps it in shade, and the inside is a nice place to work in. This is again, about design, about catering to what we as a people like, what we are used to. This is a exhibition for carpets. So instead of just hanging carpets and having people see it, we created forms. So we thought when anyone comes, apart from just seeing the carpet, the whole display becomes a very pleasing experience for anyone who comes and sees. It was a great success, and we had many people coming in just to see the forms, the shapes, and the carpets. So when you design also, even in a simple thing like just a carpet exhibition, and the design lends itself to the community coming together to be able to relate to the designs that's there. That's all a part of community building. It's a part of really a green movement in a sense. Well, this is the last one that I'll go through. This was it's a housing layout that we had done, and the contractor had high tension wires running right through the middle of the site. And our whole design really began with saying, how do we make sure that after we leave the project, nothing comes up under this high tension wire? Because, sometimes there are commercial compulsions and people start building without much care. So our design process began with that. And we said, let's design the whole clubhouse under it. So we had a walking path, we had a jogging track, and we had low-rise structures with such complicated forms of roofs that nobody could build above that, even after we left. We said we won't have any flat roofs, we won't have the simple sloping roofs. And thereby, we really, through a sense of design intervention, we saw that it doesn't go further. What we build is what it is under the high tension wire, and the site spread beyond that. And these are the forms that we came up with. And right under the high tension wire, we had a sloping roof, and that became our jogging track, which we had roofs, so to mitigate the effects of the high tension wire. Well, to conclude, I would say, deliver excellence, because what goes around comes around. And excellence, the whole notion of whatever you do, it must be excellent. It must be excellent in terms of its quality, in terms of its design, in terms of its involvement, in terms of the materials that we use, in terms of just being sustainable. So that's it from me. Thank you very much. And
Thank you.
Good luck to
Thank you so much, Leena ji. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the wonderful presentation. And I would like to mention here that we saw the presentations from Roshni ji, Leena ji, and we will see the presentation from Ray Saab also. And we have seen many presentations from various architects. So, and each and every project is very much different, very much unique from others. So how you people can do it? You are doing it very frequently. So how do you get the ideas, and you do all your projects very differently, very uniquely. So congratulations to you, and thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge with us. Thank you so much. Now we would like to invite our special speaker from Odisha, Professor S.S. Ray Saab. Ray Saab is the chairman, ASSOCHAM JEM Odisha chapter, and is the director, School of Architecture and Planning, KIIT University, KIT University. Before inviting sir, I would like to mention that 600 plus attendees are listening to us, and this number is continuously increasing. We started with 400 and now it is almost crossing 600. So thank you so much, dear attendees. Now over to you, SS Ray sir. You have the presenter, right, sir? Yeah. Visible, sir.
Yeah. Thank you everyone present here for your concern for becoming green. My topic today is to talk about green building concept, in which I'll try to take you through only two of my projects, which one of my design studio itself, and my ideas of how architects or architecture can work towards making our society happy and environment friendly. You see, nature and architecture have a very, very close relationship. Once Karl Marx told, a spider can also sort of combine and make it net and make its cells. But what distinguishes an architect from the best of bees, or a best of spiders, is architect raises his structure in imagination before he erects it in reality. So what I intend to say, that before building, we must analyze and think what best we should build, because I believe that architecture is a necessarily a intervention in the natural process, and minimum is the intervention, better is the architecture. Okay. Of course. Yeah. So human nature and architecture, they are very cleanly related. So man is architecture, art and nature, they are very strongly connected, they are very well bonded. Next. What happens? Yeah. So when we talk about our natural buildings and building nature and their sources, so we have to understand the forces of sun and wind, which have been through ages the biggest aspiration. And also we need to talk about how the human growth has been happening, and exponential growth, and how we are consuming resources, and how careful we should be in our architecture. And the need of the hour is to have zero energy and carbon neutral architecture. So that has to be a very top priority. So a true architecture is an architecture of sun and wind, how you sum passive strategies, technology systems, and ecological engineering. I think architecture, or the whole ultimate aim of architecture, should be to foster health, well-being. And I think we should be very, very contextual and understand our own ecosystem, and let a building be a part of our own ecosystem, putting minimum intervention. And we should have a very, very strong connection with the local flavors, local ideas, topography, and site conditions. I think it's a wonderful profession to sort of, through our buildings, can have and promote social and ecological values. And buildings should tell a story about the place and people. It is not something very brought differently and put into our places. So it should be a pathway to understanding ourselves within nature. So in this context, I want to put little ideas that how architecture and bioclimatic design have been very, very necessary and can be well bonded. So what happens many times, we mainstream architects do not care about bioclimatic, but we get carried away making form making is an art and this, and because we want to avoid constraints and do freedom. But if we are only freedom and form giving is our work, then we better be sculptors. We need not be architects. Architect has a lot of social commitments, and we have to understand a lot of social values and work into it. And so look at what Corbusier told: if form giving is the only concern, then the result is sculpture and not architecture. So I think we have bigger and larger responsibility on us as a member of the society. Mies van der Rohe had told that architecture should start for purity, rationality, simplicity, and Robert Venturi told less is more, we should have diversity, etc. So these are the concept and thinking on which the architecture civilization has moved. But this is one who is our neighboring architect. He is no more, Geoffrey Baba. So Geoffrey Baba does wonderful green buildings, and I like his buildings because he always advocates that a architecture or a building is a living component. It is.
You're not audible. Yeah, audible.
I'm not audible.
Audible, sir. Audible. Now audible.
I'm audible. Yeah. It is. Yeah. You see, building is, just think, building is a life component. It breathes, it takes what you like, it reacts to sun, it reacts to wind, like a shelter, it reacts to water and rain. So like in the winter, we need to put little extra cloth. The building has to change as per your climate change, and also as per the weather conditions. So never think the building is not life. Don't think it's a dead mass, and your whole thinking towards building will change. So these are the recent years we have started and learned, and our also ASSOCHAM is promoting that. You see, we have to have more holistic approach to architecture, and form need not follow functions. Form has to follow performance. So if a good form, it is a performing form. So because we have been throughout taught that form follows function, but I think we have to have a form which follows performance, and we have to talk about life cycle analysis, depletion of renewable resources, and human health and comfort has to be top priority. We are India, and Indian values, Indian thinking is always by Mahatma Gandhi, who fought for freedom of India. And Mahatma Gandhi has always taught us 5-6 things. One is truth, simple living, self-sufficiency, peace and non-violence, passive resistance, environmentalism. So I think these are the values can't we practice in architecture. If we make our architecture based on Gandhi's values, when he talked about Sarvodaya, progress for all, I think our buildings will be simple, nature friendly, and also will slowly improve our standard of living, and will be very contextual to our architecture practices. So basically the aim of green building is to minimize resources, maximize the reuse, recycling, and utilization of renewable resources. It maximizes the reuse, recycling, and it maximizes the use of efficient buildings. Comfort and hygienic indoor working conditions is always a top priority. Green building is a necessity, it is not a luxury. It must be followed if you want to have a happier world, and we want to have a continued living happy conditions. So basically we mean by green building 5 things: structure design efficiency, energy efficiency, water efficiency, material efficiency, waste and toxic reduction. So my thought is we should building which is contextual, which is sustainable, which is affordable. We have so much of housing need, so many urban poor and rural poor, and we are also disaster prone, natural disaster prone society. We need have a huge housing demand, and we should be very sensible in doing our housing programs. We should be context, we should relate to the site, we should be sustainable so that our climate is not damaged, and we should be affordable. We should put a lot of thinking and brainstorming before why, where, when, what to do before we start off a work. And architecture is a process which is continued knowledge developing. You have to initiate, prepare, proposal make, evaluate, action, and this is recycling a concept. So it is reiterating, and more we do this exercise, it is a better finished product we come up with. So this is my own design studio, which happened to be the first 5-star rated green building in Odisha. So this is a small plot about 40 by 70 feet, and which has in different levels, 3-4 levels. And so fortunately, we have north and south is the open space, and east and west we have more dead walls, so which has a ventilation, and wherever there is a on the west side we have a vertical green. So these are the building design features. We try to follow more lighting, more ventilation, front louvers, etc., and surface to volume ratio. First, we did a climatic analysis. So we had a longer axis which is facing north and south, shorter axis east and west. These are very, very basics. If we follow basics, we come up with very wonderful result. This is the cross-sectional view. If you can, then I go to the pictures. So a building is around a central water body, which sort of does and makes the whole thing cool. And we try to promote a lot of local art. I live in old town of Odisha, which has famous Lingaraja temple and Mukteswar temple and Bindusagar water tank. It's a space for arts, culture, thinking, and Odishan history and architecture is around. We thought that we should have a modern building which resonates the cultural history we have. Can we not have a heritage interpretations in a contemporary style? So the entrance is through a green canopy. We don't have a formal reception. We have a veranda. A Odia house is always has a veranda, and then we go up to the office, and local craft and local art is given features. And in this part of Odisha has 480 kilometers of coastal stretch, and from here, if we look into the whole of southeast regions, right from Thailand and Indonesia and Philippines, we have a strong sense of architecture which uses natural materials. So why not we get more Asian in our thinking than a lot of European in our thinking, which we normally do, because we have a tropical climate and warm and humid. So these are the local thinkings, local lamps, local traditions, local history, which is put. And if you see in the entrance, these are the sort of woodwork we use for formwork, shuttering. We thought that that waste wood could be reutilized here. And the building can be a sense of proportions and traditional features which can be rationalized to modern use and made a contemporary feeling onto it. So this has our conference room, the roofing, we have that Navgraha paintings and lot of lion there. We strongly believe knowledge is power. If you want to rule the world, we should have more and more knowledge within us. This is the entrance foyer, which talks about the historic and cultural imprints. We have a Vastu Mandala on the top. The sculptures draw inspirations from Mukteswar temples, which is close by, and on the entrance door we have paintings of Dasavatar. So these are the things which have been, our traditional art has been very rich and very proportionate. They can always find a place in contemporary buildings. These are the design studio which gets north and south, north light from, and west side is blocked with good ventilators. This is my chamber where we have a Mukteswar temple replica, and they draw a lot of natural light, and the south side is, the west side is blocked with a vertical green wall. And so we try to do a lot of local flora and fauna, aquatic plants which are very local, and these are the green site and landscape is very important issue in architecture. And creating low energy cooling using water. Traditionally all our buildings used to use water, even in Mughal buildings. So we can take this for a circulation and taking hot air through clear story and putting cool air inside, ventilating them makes the building very cool inside. And we can have green wall, green pergola, green roof, etc., and solar features. And so these are the natural features which we try to use. And the ventilating, if you can see the window treatments, we have a ventilator, slope ventilators, so hot air goes off like that, so we don't have to do this. And we try to create little tropical architecture styles which has a lot of verandas, etc. And the sanitation, one has to be very careful and creating environment which are we learn from our own experiences. So these are the window features which I have tried there, and various types of fenestration which helps cooling the house, keeps it very cool. Bhubaneswar sometimes gets 45, 46 degree up to temperature and becomes hottest city of the country, at least for a week. So, and of course, the energy efficient appliances support to help you out and making it more green and less dependent on other energy sources. Your natural sources become very useful. Local wood and local stone, local work is a necessity. Using waste wood helps you and makes your building feel good, and you belong to your this. It talks about your origin, talks about your culture, talks about your art. Building represents and becomes a symbol of your art. This is how we built our sculptures using the waste stone, etc. So this is not only building, your lifestyle has to be green. So we try to use a lot of, if you see these chandeliers, they used to be traditional dowry boxes, and your fenestrations, the jali, the stone sculptures, this can be also, this engages a lot of local craftsmen and that creates work opportunity for them. So I now move to the second project. Before I move to the second project, I want to give a small introduction that when Laurie Baker came to India after his architecture degree from Europe, he came across Mahatma Gandhi, and he asked Gandhiji that, sir, if we have to do a small Indian village, what do we do? So Gandhiji told that please be sure that you do not draw any material, do not draw a mason, do not do a worker more than 3 kilometers from your site. So Larry Becker then thought that maybe Mahatma Gandhi is a politician, so he is having high ideas, not implementable. At the age of when Gandhiji, Larry Becker passed away at the age of 90, he told, it took my whole life to understand how true was Mahatma Gandhi. Gandhiji used to say, if you want to see a change, be a change within. That sentence changed Laurie Becker's life, and he went to foothills of Himalayas, served a leprosy patient. Over the process, went down to Kerala and tried to do low-cost housing for farmers, and came up with such green building, processes which we all try to follow. So architecture is a very passionate practice. If you want to do good buildings and good environment you want to create, you have to be very passionate about it. So next building we try to do, you have to have your ethical standards, social equity, and use of green materials, economic performance. On the left, the sketch, the Odisha tribals, they use these color pigments from natural resources to paint their buildings. So this is next building. This is, I'm talking about a school building we did Adani KISS, Kalinga Institute of Social Sciences, which gives free education to tribal children. So this is in Baripada. So before we built that, we found the Santal houses. There are a lot of Santal proportions. They have a lot of geometric and colorful. They use certain nature pigment driven colors. So we went and studied there. And these are the how people build all around our site. So when we did this modern building, we thought that it should be inspiration. We should be very local in our thinking. So the building, the campus contains a school building, a hospital, a dispensary, hostels, staff quarter, etc. It's about a 10-acre campus. So we tried to draw our inspirations from the tribal architecture close by and try to take the triangle as a symbolism which Santal houses do, and try to create a modern building which is contextual. And these are the hostel buildings which use a simple brick jalis and same triangular patterns. So I want to conclude my presentation that first, green building is a necessity, and architecture, one has to be very passionate about doing this if you want to create a better uh, environment. Excellence is not a skill, it's an attitude, and bring green has to be a way of life. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to speak.
Thank you, Resa. Thank you. And really, it was a wonderful presentation. And what I can pick from your presentations, I mean, Leena ji also focused on this, and you are also focusing on this, that you are using local traditional art, and local artisan, in your projects. And we are also discussing in our GEM Council that we should also focus on giving points and giving credits to the projects, those who are using the local art, traditional art, and local artisan, because this will help the local artisan also to to improve and to survive. And as we are giving points to the local materials, we should give points for using local artisan and traditional art also. So it's really wonderful that you are going for sustainability using traditional artwork, traditional things. So thank you so much, Professor
Thank you
Reza.
very much.
Wonderful presentation. And now I would like to invite Mr. Shubhabrata Rath. Mr. Shubhabrata Rath is the Joint Director at ASSOCHAM GEM Green Building Council. May I have his slide, please? Before moving to Mr. Shubhabrata, I would like to add here that I would request, in fact, all the attendees to please share your questions in the question box. And we have already started receiving the questions, and we would love to answer all your queries at the end. Meanwhile, I would request all of you to please register for GEM Certified Professional Examination. I have sent the link on the chat box. If you can see it, go and register for the GEM Certified Professional Examination. And I would like to add that you can register now, and you can take the examination anytime in future. It's not necessary that if you are registering today, you have to take the examination today or tomorrow. You can take the examination anytime in future. But registering today will give you a benefit of a good discount in fee. Otherwise, the fees is 4,000 rupees or 5,000 rupees. for students and professionals. But for today, we have a very special discounted fee of rupees 3,000 plus taxes. So register today and avail the benefit of this discounted fee. Now, I would like to invite Mr. Shubhabrata Rath. Shubhabrata has more than 18 years of experience of sustainability, energy efficiency, green building, and he has worked in India and abroad on various sustainability projects. So Shubhabrata, we would like to hear from you the technical aspects of GEM Green Building Certification. And after Shubha, we have a very special speaker, Mr. Kishan Khatri, who will be talking on the energy aspects, daylight and fresh air aspects of GEM Green Building Certification Program. So first, over to you, Shubha. Thank you.
Thank you, Neeraj. Can you hear me?
Perfect, sir. You can
Sure,
keep your
great.
video off. Yeah, you can keep your video off, so it will improve the quality, audio quality. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, sure.
Thank you.
Thank you again, and thank you all the eminent speakers because they actually paved the way. Like people who are the participants here right now, they can exactly understand where they are landing on. What is the final implementation's point of view? So I'll take a step backward. Good afternoon, everyone. All the participants, welcome to the online masterclass on all about GEM Sustainability Certifications Program and GEM Certified Professional Online Exam. So before I start, I have certain request that we are already aware of. The first one about the questions, like Mr. Neeraj Arora said, put all their questions in the chat box. It will be answered eventually. The second and very important thing is that in this pandemic situations, you all are here. Thank you for that. You all are here listening to us very patiently, and all are inside the building, inside the room somewhere, perhaps. So the first thing we should do is just relax. Don't take anything so into that kind of out of relaxation framework. So just relax and let it flow, and stay safe. Stay safe, everybody. That is the mantra of the hour. Welcome everyone again. So today our highlights will be introduction to sustainability. So sustainability and green building, you already have an idea right now with all our eminent speakers, with all the presentations went through, and how the architect is right now building up. It's not like Racer said, it's not a luxury, it's a necessity, it's a requirement. So you kind of get an idea of green building or sustainability. So I will give a more brief fundamentally of introduction to sustainability. Then we will talk about ASSOCHAM GEM Green Building Certifications Program. We have certain modules. Regarding that, we will decide, we will discuss these modules, these 6 modules that you are looking at right now: building essentials, 5 elements, resource efficiency, water and energy conservation measures, best sustainability practices, and fire and life safety. These modules are kind of intermingled, which I mean is they are not completely independent. When you go into the GEM Green Building Certifications Program, you will understand that they all are closely related. It's not like oil and water that you will separate them. It's mostly like milk and water. They are there, they all are there together, and when we discuss one by one, we will kind of take the pieces out one by one. You will understand that how the models work with each other. Okay, and finally we'll talk about GEM Certified Professional. About this, Mr. Arora right now said that there is a, in the chat box you can see a link. If you want to register, please go ahead right now, no problem. And now we'll move to the sustainability. Okay, this sustainability part of it, let me give you a brief, what do you call it, a basic fundamental concept. Okay, human interactions, exterior building interiors. Now, when you talk about sustainability in every sector, sustainability, when someone asks me what is sustainability, I say sustainability is life. But that will not do. If you do it in the implementation point of view, it has to have some kind of sector. What sector sustainability is? A independent sector or it is a dependent sector? If you go to IT sector, there is sustainability engineer out there, right? Whose profile is very different from if you go to the financial sector, there is a sustainability financial officer. If you go different sectors, if you go to construction sector and say you are sustainability analyst, they might think you are an environmental specialist. In the design side, if you talk about I am a sustainability engineer, they might think you are an energy analyst or energy auditor or something like that. So sustainability here, I am for the very definition for to be on the same page, all of us, I am talking about sustainability of a building. Okay, clear? So sustainability of a building right now we're talking about, and how that matters, what the sustainability thing about is. Sustainability is about optimizations, minimization of resources, optimization of resources. How we'll do that? Because if I talk about, let's say, environmental sustainability of a building, if I take you green building, what is the first thing when you say green? Like right now we saw the video, the university campus. When you saw green, when it says the word green building, what things first come into your mind? Maybe it's a tree, or it's a plant, or if you go to a bigger level, it might be ice, snows, oceans, seas, or mountains, ground, soils, rain seasons, your moonlight, everything that is exterior to us, everything that is outside the building, that things come into us when you talk about environment, right? But when you are talking about building sustainability, how that relates to us, that is a very tricky question. Few years before, or I mean decades before, when the modernization was coming, people didn't understand how the building is going to be sustainable, right? And what is the environmental contaminant, what it is about. The vehicle emissions, like Ms. Rosni said, that most of the emissions come from buildings, not transportations. That is a very different kind of data, isn't it? So what is the common factor that connects exterior things and interior things? If I say about green building, right now you are sitting in a place, just look around the room. Can you detect anything which you can say environmental friendly or environment itself? Can you connect something with the nature? Because there is concrete, there might be some electronic items, there might be some books, there might be some doors, frames, windows. Which one of them are environment? Is it completely artificial, or there is any kind of environment related with it? If I am talking about sustainability inside the building, sustainability of the building itself, the concrete blocks, the floors, the roof, the walls, what is environment about it? Environment, there is no trees here, so how we can calculate, how we can quantify or qualify for environmental perspective within the building? Yes, there is definitely there is a factor that we will talk about. That what is the thing that connects all of these exterior building interfaces and interior of the building where we are sitting right now, and why it is required, why green building is important, why building is important as such, right? Even if you are a marketing specialist, if you are a marketing professional, let's say if I go to one place, I am going to waiting in a platform. What is the platform? Platform is a building. If I go to some airport and staying there for like 12 hours, I'm waiting for another flight, that airport itself is a building. So our home is not only a building. If you are going to some places for a vacation holidays, we are thinking of let's go to Kashmir, and we are going we'll move around places, and we'll look at different kinds of places. We'll move there and we'll enjoy a lot. Let's say talk about Goa. If you are going, we know talk about Goa, we are okay, merry-making purpose, fun purpose, entertainment purpose, we are going. A lot of people are moving here and there for professional purpose as well. But when you go to one place to another, what is the first thing that comes into your mind? The first thing is to arrange for a hotel, book a hotel, right? So wherever you go, 80% of our time, or maybe more than that, we're staying inside a building. So is building not an important component of us? How can we, just like our health is, just like our body is, just like everything is, what is important to us? What is shelter, clothes? There's the three fundamentals: food, shelter, and clothes. The shelter, the building itself. Shelter, it doesn't mean that we're staying, that's not only shelter. Even if we are moving around here and there, we're staying in hotels, we're going to airports, that's about building. So the sustainability of a building is very much important, and if you can connect that with the nature, that becomes a sustained building sector. Green building system has a huge scope right now, like we saw from the presentations from our eminent speakers. It has a huge scope, of course, and it is connected in the application side by the triple bottom line, which is called economy, ecology, and equity. Because when we are talking about implementation side of anything, it has to have an economical perspective. Forget about profit, forget about business model, just the economy, just the sustenance of it, and the environmental part of it, and the social part of it. Social means even if we are thinking of something, to do something good, to do something sustainable, that is, we are thinking of the planet, not only for us. So this triple bottom line and the human interaction factors and the building sustainability, now we are moving on to green building sector. From the green building sector, to understand green building sector, We cannot just do it like that. I cannot be theoretical with you because that will be a little bit boring, right? And so GEM, the Green and Eco-Friendly Movement by ASSOCHAM, GEM Sustainability Certification Rating Program will be our lens for today. This is our lens through which we'll see, okay, the needs and bits of sustainability. So why it is required? So right now I'll go into 5 elements of nature. So I was asking you about what is the common factor that interlinks the building outside, exterior, interior, and the interface. You can say 5 elements of nature. What are the 5 elements of nature? Fire, water, what else? Air, space, earth, right? So when you're outside, when you're in the exterior of a building, in a campus or something, these things are very much, we can, if you say fire, okay, you can understand. Even the sun rays, sun signs are fire, right? There are space, there is mind space also, that we can think of something to do something good, some CSR programs, that kind of space also there. There is air there that we can inhale, and the importance of air, the importance of oxygen. Right now we can understand what is going on in this pandemic situation. I don't have to elaborate about it, right? The ventilation is very much important. The earth element itself, the soil itself is very much important, right? So all these 5 elements of nature, if you look around yourself inside the building, does it not contain these same 5 elements? You look at the concrete. When the building was made, did we not use any water in it? Did we not use any excavate the materials to make a brick or make a concrete? That is the soil elements, the air we breathe in inside, the space that we are living in or thinking, creating some kind of creativity, some mind space game. Are we not? Fire element, the energy that we are using right now, or maybe you are cooking something using an induction cooker as well. Everything, is it not a fire element? So even if inside our body also these 5 elements are there. Water is there, air is there, space is there, right? Energy is there. You need everything. Soil, everything that you can quantify as a weight contains a soil element in it, earth element in it, right? So all of it. Talk about buildings, talk about exteriors, talk about interior, talk about human body. Everything is made of these 5 elements of nature. And if we have to survive and we have to stay healthy, if we need to prosper in a good way as a human civilizations, then we must synchronize all of this. That's why we call it a sustainability. But that sustainability of the buildings, we need to have a certification rating program through which, through the parameters, by using those parameters, we will understand what a sustainability certification rating program is. Now, this already Mr. Thakur presented you that GEM certification is about BE and NBC code are being used, so I will not elaborate more further. So GEM certification rating system right now, I will directly come into it. Okay. This is the point list of a new construction. GEM sustainability certification rating system point list of a new constructions. Okay. When you are building a new building, it is applicable for existing building as well. We have different reference guides. The reference guides are free resources in our website. You can find it there. There are for factories, for warehouses, for logistics, for healthcare, for every kind of buildings. We have different kinds of certification rating systems, but they are either new constructions or existing building, right? So in this, there are 30 principles and total 135 points. So I will base this as our guidance for today. This point list of NC. This consists of principles, right? 30 principles. You can see principle 1, 2, 3, and 4. You can see there are maximum points E. What is E? E means essentials. E means mandatory. If you are making a building, you have to make it approved by government, right? So I don't think that we should give a point for that. That is essentials. Fire and life safety in sustainable buildings. In GEM certification, we are emphasizing fire and life safety. Safety is must. Fire and life safety is must. That is an essentials. If these essentials are not there in any building, then we cannot certify anything. Okay. There are construction management best practices. There are parking for building occupants, for example. If there is parking bylaws, the number of parkings for a state. In that state, you need, okay, this is the square feet, this is the building footprint, and you need so and so numbers of parking. Let's say you need 1,000 parkings with some certain dimensions. You have to do it. It has to be a part of your design. So these parameters, these 30 parameters, are part of your design, conceptual design. From the concept stage, for example, when the project team, I want to do a building or some kind of residential building or some kind of villa or something, or some real estate. I am a developer, let's say, and I want to do it green. Like all our presenters, eminent speakers, they said that, okay, we did it green, we have to make it green. But on what factors I will understand that we are making it green? What is the direction? What is the directive for that? These 30 principles can work as a directive for that. When you start a project, or even if it is an existing project, you just take a printout of it or keep it nearby and you check, okay, is my building, all the plans are approved? Okay, good. If I am landscape, I am doing all the best practices, okay, good. So this is kind of checklist, okay. Based on this checklist, we will make a feasibility report. Feasibility is required because we need to know what the building stands, what the building design stands, where the building intention stands. If we want to improve upon it, then we can improve it, of course. So how will improve? Let's go to the next slide. Why it's not going? Just a minute. Why then? Okay. How will improve? This there we consider gem levels: gem 1, gem 2, gem 3, gem 4, and gem 5. So based on how much numbers you are getting in total, you can get all the essential requirements and 40 to 49 points, for example, in the feasibility study you are getting. So you know that, okay, my project is gem 1 qualified or gem 5 qualified, okay, or gem 3 qualified. If it is gem 3 qualified, you want to do something better than whatever extra you can do. We have different principles there. Principle 30, just pick another one other points and go to 105 points. That's how we go. Okay, from the pre-certification, from the conceptual phase, just to understand that whether we are doing good or not. From the conceptual design, whatever is intention, whatever the owners thinks of implementing in the project, what is the sustainability requirement, they can give us all the design documents with their intentions, with the letters. Then we'll evaluate, okay, this is okay, no problem. So that it will be easier for you to certify for the going for the final certifications. Okay, this is what we already discussed about. GM certified professionals. Before I go into the principles one by one, I just want you to again re-emphasize the fact that there is a link here in the chat box. Please register for the exam. And once you get the GEM CP certifications, it is big problem. It is being recognized by ASSOCHAM, and it will be appearing in our website as well. Apart from that, we will get a lot of other benefits. Whatever GEM CP, whatever GEM certifications project we're doing, we can rely on you. You can be a part of it. Or if you have some project, let's say you are staying in a place where you see nearby there is a villa or there is some society complex, you think that, okay, these guys are doing really good, they're sustainable, but we don't know what to do. Then you can approach us. You can say, this is the kind of building it's being there. You can approach us. We can together, we can go to the developer and we can talk with. So that is one kind of scope. Then there is another GMCP certified professional. A lot of things are coming up in future as well. I can see. So if you get this GEM certified professional certifications, then there will be a lot of opportunity. There is a lot of scopes which are coming around. They're already existing. It has a lot of values. So please go for the registration. So this is the process I was talking about: pre-certification and final certifications. For pre-certifications, the entire durations of the provisional certificate by the building is 20 days. And for the final certification process, it is 30 days. Okay. So first, this is the process. If you have to elaborate it, then the project will be registered. Then the submission of project sustainability report by the project team to the council for preliminary review. We review it. We return it within 10 days. Then review of the project team. We will give the feedback to the project team. They will implement it. They will again give the documentation back to us. We will again review that. Okay, everything is perfect. Then we will award it. Pre-certifications or certifications. The timeline for pre-certification is 20 days. The timeline for certification process is 30 days in total. Okay. So now we'll go to the parameters. Principle 1, government approved plans. And this is quite simple, right? In its approach, like if you have a project, you must have the land allotment later. There is no, there is no exception in it. If a government approves site plan, built up area, parking deals, everything you have to submit. Okay. You have approved building plans, clearance for chief fire officer, local competent authority as applicable. All the plans, all the approved required plans, you can submit to us. That is an essential point. There will be no points here that out of 135 points, you are not getting any point out of it. But if you miss it, the project will not be certified. Principle 2 is same way, fire and life safety in sustainable buildings, right? National Building Code 2016 Part 4 on the requirements prescribed by the local competent authorities. Obtain fire no objection certificate from the competent authority for the facility and submit to us in the way it is required. These reference guides, again, I'm reiterating the fact that the reference guides are available in our website for free. You can just download it, you can just read. So right now I am not going through all the principles one by one because there are 30 things, and maybe you'll be exhausted. It generally takes 1 to 2 days workshop. We used to take workshops before this pandemic. So right now in 1 hour, 2 hours, we might not be able to go clear all the principles. So I am just giving you examples of how to interpret these principles. For example, principle 6, landscape best practices, core points, right? Minimum landscape area requirements for residential projects, at least 15% of site area. There is, you have a building, let's say 100 acres, out of which 15% will be 15 acres, right? If 15 acres of that of site area is just kept for landscape itself, then you'll get 2 points. If you say no, we cannot give 15 acres, we'll give maximum, we can give 10 acres. Okay, then you'll get 1 point for that. That is for residential projects. For industrial institutions, there is a different requirement of 12 and 16, commercial and other projects 10 and 15. Okay. And this covers the landscape area on the mother earth only. It's not that you'll put a pot and grow some plants, not like that. It is about landscape area on the mother earth, on the soil, it means. Okay, inside your site area. And plant native and adaptive and drought tolerant flora on site for at least 35% of the total landscape area. It is essential. 35% is essential. Now, inside the principle also, there are essentials. We have total 4 points. Let's say you do 100, you are doing a residential project, 100 acres is your site area, and you are doing 15 acres, you are allocated for landscape, you get 2 points. Okay. Apart from that, if you want to do another 2 points, if you have to get, then what is the criteria? 55% at least you have to do. What you have to do in the 55% of that 15 acres? 55% of that 15 acres. Okay. Native, adaptive, or drought tolerant flora on site. What is native plants, adaptive plants, or drought tolerant flora? Let's say I am staying in Bhubaneswar, Odisha. Okay. And I have some projects like that. I allocated 15 acres out of it. And I want to grow there something like apple tree or orange tree or something like, which is not conducive to the atmosphere, conducive to the soil of Odisha, Bhubaneswar. Is it good? Or we want some kind of plants out of my fancy. I say that, okay, this plant looks good, let's plant it. And that plant consumes a lot of water, let's say. A lot of water. There are plant species who takes a lot of water because they're not native to that place. Native plants generally take less water. They're very much adaptive. Adaptive species are also okay. For example, in hot climates or even mild climate also, there are some kind of deodaru trees. Okay, you can find it. Deodaru trees actually, it should be in a cold climate thing, but in hot climate also there are some aspects of it. Drought tolerant flora. There are some drought tolerant species. This list are available in the websites of the government websites. You can get it. This is not. This is pretty easy to get the native, adaptive, drought tolerant flora species. And if you go to a landscape specialist, consultant, they can also tell you what is native, adaptive, and drought tolerant flora for that place. Okay. So we cannot go for something completely foreign, distinct to that land. We have to be native. So that thing will, in many ways, that is a kind of conservation of water. That's why I was telling you the green building and the sustainability definition is conservations or optimizations of the 5 elements of nature, right? High albedo materials. Principle number 8, for example, roof and non-roof. We have a building, we have roof, we have non-roof, right? Sometimes what happens is, let's say we make the complete area, complete site area, we make a building, and outside that building we make streets, we make lanes, we make a lot of things, and we make all of this as concrete, right? No gridding, nothing, no grid pavers, nothing, just roads. Okay, let's say it's not completely, it is not exposed to the soil in any way. There's no interactions between the nature and the soil anyway. Completely hardscape, complete hardscape, 100%. Let's say, what will happen? The sunlight comes, it gets trapped there, and after that gets trapped, after the afternoon also, when the sun rays are emitted, it takes a longer time, the heat gets trapped. Then the next, if it is summer season, this time of escalation, this time of accumulations goes on and goes on and goes on. And in places like cities like Gurgaon or Noida or anything where the buildings are very much high-rise buildings and very nearby apartments are there, the heat completely gets trapped. That is called heat island effect. We are creating an island of heat, which is very bad, and this gives a lot of burden on our energy efficiency. Energy efficiency means you have an air conditioning. Now, first of all, you are trapping the heat, and to get comfortable inside the home, you are making a cooler 24 hours. You are just taking it on, right? That is a load on your electricity bill. That is a load on the electricity resources itself, generation process itself, on the planet itself, because it also contains a lot of refrigerants, which are chemicals. So in one way, just by a wrong design, wrong conceptual design, you are kind of trapping the heat and making a lot of cascading effect out of it. So that's how we are trying to reduce through sustainability. High albedo metals, roof and non-roof, there is something called high SRI paint, or you can use it by at least 40% of parking in the basement or still covered with high albedo material. High albedo material means high reflective material. The heat will be reflected. For example, you can see that a lot of people, they paint their roof white or some kind of chemicals which reflects the heat. There's some people, there are vegetated roof also. Roof vegetation or high albedo metals are combination of both for more than 70% of exposed roof areas. Exposed roof does not include the areas covered by services provided on the roof. For example, if you have a AHU system, some mechanical system, something of excluding that area, whatever the remaining areas, we can make it high albedo materials. What else we can do? We can do open grid pavers, grass pavers, shade giving trees to cover at least 40% area of open surface parking, driveways and walkways. So for out of the 6 points, if you are doing all these points, you can see 1 point, you can get 2 points, 2 points, 2 points, total 6 points, right? So if one project goes for 60% of parking in the basement or steel floor covered with high albedo metals, you'll get 2 points. 40% area of open surface parking, number 2, 2 points. Number 3, another 2 points. If a project opts for all of these, they get 6 points. This is very much easily achievable. This doesn't cost much, right? It's just a matter of intention. So that's why we said that GEM is much more intent driven. We are making it indigenous to India. We are making it completely intent driven, simplistic process, cost effective as well, right? This doesn't cost you a much, cost a project much as well. We can advocate on this. Just 6 points you will get for doing this. Out of 130 points, 6 points you get for principle 8. Easy, right? Like that. Rainwater harvesting, recharge or reuse. What is recharge and reuse? The rainwater harvesting system is not unknown to most of us right now. Maybe before 1 decade, 2 decades before, we didn't know this, but right now storing rainwater for landscape flushing or domestic applications as applicable, it's not a new thing for many. And if it is saying that if any competent government authority says that groundwater table is high, sometimes this question comes many times. That's why we completely addressed it in the reference guide itself. If your groundwater is high, you cannot just keep the rainwater and discharge it back into the soil because the groundwater table is already high. It's not required. Then the project shall provide a storage system to cater to rainwater from the roof surfaces only, right? If the groundwater level is less, Then you can take roof, non-roof, everything, ground, we can collect it, we can reuse it, we can recharge the ground itself. But if the groundwater is high, that is different point of view, different perspective. That calculation will be done differently. Quality of rainwater should meet the standards. Now we are reusing, recharging, or reusing this rainwater. This quality cannot be compromised. It's not that we have some kind of rainwater we collect somewhere and it has mixed oil in it somehow, and we are just using it back into the soil. Not like that. The quality has to be properly treated. The rainwater has to be treated properly and recharged into the earth. So for this percentage, you can see 30% is essential, 60% you get 2 points, 90% you get 4 points. Easy. Let's move on. Principle 10, install low water fixtures. Low water fixtures. What is low water fixtures? I'll give an example. Maybe most of you already know it, but just give a perspective. If you go a lot of places, let's say in an airport, there are sensors, right? If you just, not only airports, even in your INOX cinemas, it's available. The closure in the malls, these are available right now. You can see that. They're low water, they're sensor based water fixtures are there, right? You just do not plug it on and just it's going, the water is flowing out of every time. It is like in the tap water. It's just going flowing out. It's just flowing out, right? That's bad. That's not water conservation. So water conservation is all about how you conserve the water. Unnecessary usage of water or unnecessary wastage of water is prohibited. So that's why what we said water closets should be dual plus type with plus sets 4.6 LPF and 2.6 LPF. And for different health facets, kitchen sink facets, we have our different kind of parameters. These are available in the market, so we don't have to worry about it. Install efficient water fixtures with flow rates not more than the values listed below. For each point, for each product, we are getting 1 point. There are total 7 points for principle 10, right? For showers, we have 6.5 LPM design pressure of 3 bar. For urinals, there is 1.5 LPF. And if you have installed sensor-based water fixtures with above flow rates in the common area application, you'll get 1 point. Okay. All other water fixtures that are intended to fill the bucket or bathtub can be excluded. That is pretty obvious. You cannot expect to go to a bathtub and just make a sensor-based application there and it is not coming out, and that will be pretty frustrating. So GEM is designed. Every time I am making a principle, I'm talking about why GEM is introduced. GEM is designed in such a way that it is completely applicable. It is not frustrated. It's not that we are making some kind of design, some kind of parameters which is frustrating in nature or which is not, what do you call it, practical. Okay, all these things are practical. You can see on-site treatment of gray and black water and reuse for flushing. So we are saying it reuse for flushing. We are not saying it use for landscape or anything, because a lot of people have apprehensions about using the flush water reuse for flushing and on-site treatment of gray and black water. Gray and black water, what is gray and black water? First of all, the thing that you are going to the toilet, right? So those water, the flushing water, that can be treated. If you treat it on site with the CPCB or SPCB standards, you get 2 points for that. Dual plumbing in all toilets for flushing in all tenant spaces. Inner plumbing fixtures itself, if it is doable only if you think in the conceptual design phase, then the MEP consultant can make this kind of design where they'll make a dual plumbing fixtures. One side will come from this flushing water on-site treatment plant. Use treated water for flushing such that at least 75% of total flushing water demand is fulfilled by the treated water, or if more than 95% of total flushing water demand shall be fulfilled by treated water. Okay, so different kind of application, different kind of ways. We are just mentioning some kind of quantifications of these. It's 75% or 95%, but the main intent is that we are trying to reuse the gray and black water for flushing, and we are trying to make the water, the gray and black water, on-site treatment. Okay. Projects can use localized common public STP. If there is a common public STP, sometimes that place, the bylaws says that you have a localized common public for a lot of buildings out there. You can use that, no problem. 2 points will be added to the project in that case. Okay, not a problem there, because the government itself is giving that provision. But you should have the kind of fixtures out there which can take that water back into your flushing system. Post occupancy waste management principle 4 points. So I'm giving kind of, I'm not going to all the principles. Right now I'm going to principle 14, post occupancy waste management. What is post occupancy waste management? When you're talking about waste, one waste is generated when you're constructing things, right? Constructing the buildings. One kind of, when the people lives there, that is called post occupancy waste management. Provide separate waste fields for biodegradable and non-biodegradable waste at each residential unit level or tenant level or floor level as applicable. So if you talk about the 5 elements of nature, what element of nature you are trying to conserve here or preserve here? What we are generally doing here? Waste management comes into which category? Mostly it is a kind of quantifications of soil element, right? So everything that you can relate to some kinds of element, right? So wastage is there, some waste things is there. How can you use it? We are not going, we don't want those things to go to the landfill. The landfill you have seen in every places, every cities, there is a landfill, and God knows a lot, like many years, these things are smelling there, they're staying there. It is giving a lot of disturbances to the localities or on the planet Earth as well. So we are trying to minimize that. If you can reuse something, if you can reuse plastic, right? If there is a plastic element, we can just from the very beginning we can make it different. We can separate it with another bins. We can reuse it. We can reuse paper. We can reuse cardboard. If you can reuse things, why not to reuse it? Why to give a load on the planet unnecessarily? Because at the end of the day, when you're making something, you're taking something out of the soil, out of the mother earth, out of nature, right? So if you can reuse it, why not? So to reuse it, it is very easy. Just the thing is that from the very beginning of the source, but the source means when you are generating some kind of waste in our household or factory or a hotel or wherever wherever the building is, whatever the building is, there has to be a kind of structure, kind of framework, how from the very resource, from the source of the generations, it can be separated out and you can use it. Whatever you cannot, but whatever you can reuse, of course, provide central collection part for collection of biodegradable and non-biodegradable waste from the entire project. And for that, we have 4 points, and there are strategies for that. On-site conversion of organic waste. Now, organic waste is separated from the plant, from the building. What will do with it? On-site treatment of entire organic waste. You can make compost out of it. You can make a lot of things, right? Biodegradable waste such as food scraps, garden and landscaping should be converted into manure or biogas instead of being sent to landfills. Isn't it good? Why you should send everything to the landfills? If you can use it into your manure and use it in somewhere as a fertilizer, why not? If you can make some kind of a biogas out of it, why not? Right? So these are the ways, these are the parameters. Now I am trying to bring you in the sense that, okay, out of this, all the principles, 30 principles in GEM systems, every parameter amounts to some kind of conservation or optimization of certain resources. And if we can do it wisely from the pre-design, the project team will sit there and will say that, okay, we can do it, why not? It will be very simplified process. GEM is, we can help you always there. Our council is there. So we'll do it. Sustainable development of construction engineering. Just a simple thing. Use fly ash. Fly ash is not a new thing for now. Well, I mean, right now there are fly ash factories everywhere, literally everywhere. Maybe 1 decade before, 2 decades before, it was maybe you were not getting it. But right now you are getting it. EPC cements for masonry and plaster work, just 50% of masonry and plaster work, you are getting 1.75% of the plaster work, 2 points. So I am not saying that compromise on the structure or anything. No, we're not talking about that. There are a lot of partitions inside the buildings, right? Even if it is a high-rise building, there are partitions. So we can use the fly ash for partitions. Some people say that the fly ash structures, the fly ash bricks, they are not structural friendly. They are not very much, the strength is not there. That is a myth. It is there, strength is there. You can make it tested. And if, okay, if you feel that fly ash doesn't have that much strength what you need, okay, you can use it for partition at least, right? Use facade glass, doors, windows, and glass with recycled content of more than 15%. These are very much available in the market. This is doable. 2 points. Use ply as bricks or ASC bricks or similar products for brickwork. 80% of brickwork, if you are pliers or ASC blocks, the same thing, it is very much doable. 2 points. Concrete mix, 2 points. TMT steel bars with recycled content of more than 25%. Why you are saying more than 25%? Because 25% is by default. Okay, steel bars by default, but more than 25%, you have recycled content. 2 points. It is also very much doable, available in the market. Use at least 50% of tiles with recycled content of more than 25%. 2 points. So total there are 12 points in this principle. So out of 135 points, if you can get 12 points in this principle alone, right? Local sourcing of construction material. This is what Mr. Ray was showing in the presentations. There he was talking about, referring to Mahatma Gandhi, that the 3-kilometer radius, you can, if you can do something, then make a village, something like that. Utilize locally available building construction material manufacturer supplies for buying materials to reduce environment pollution and transportation cost. Here we are trying to find the local materials, regional materials, or regional things. Why? There is a kind of, if you do it locally, the local industries will prosper. Number one. Number two is our reliance. We will be reliant on our local industries, nearby places. Embedded energy will be less. Embedded energy means the transportation cost. If you, the carbon dioxide footprint, if you bring it something from Andhra Pradesh to Karnataka versus you do something inside Karnataka itself, that's a different thing, right? So locally sourced sand, stones, aggregates, bricks, paver blocks, concrete, whatever is applicable. If you can get it within 250 kilometers, 2 points, generally all the projects do this. Most of the projects can do this. This is doable. We are trying to make a way or make a movement around it. We are not trying to do something that is very much stringent always. You don't have to be stringent always. You just have to be part of your intent to do something. That's why you call it GEM, is green and eco-friendly movement. We are trying to build such a framework that everybody can do it, not only the people who can afford it. Okay, that's why we put things in a lenient way. In sometimes leniency not in terms of requirements, leniency in terms of intentions. You can do it. Use local sourced cement, glass, wood products, and tiles as applicable. Source distance from project site should not be more than 550 kilometers. ये तो बहुत easily हो सकता है कि नहीं? Source distance स्टील को आप 850 किलोमीटर के अंदर से ला सकते हैं. So 6 points. Local sourcing of construction metal, आप ये करने से आप nearby industries में, आपके एरिया में within like 500 kilometers of radius, आप एक industries को बढ़ावा दे रहे हैं. You are encouraging kind of industries, construction industries and construction workers and construction material contractors, subcontractors. You are kind of helping the economy as well. तो ये एक indirect contribution है. Sustainability तो हो ही रहा है बिल्डिंग का, ये सब यूज करके हो ही रहा है. Of course, embedded energy घट ही रहा है. Carbon dioxide footprint is getting better. But apart from that, we are also using the economy. You are strengthening. That's why in the triple bottom line in the very beginning, I said that there is a factor called economy, right? We cannot go away from economy and our social responsibility just for doing something sustainable. We have to get everything hand in hand. Judicious use of hardwood and softwood. Do not use hardwood and softwood in the project in order to save trees and our mother earth. तो हमने ये बताया कि आप अपना डोर फ्रेम्स, डोर्स एंड फर्नीचर में हार्डवुड सॉफ्टवुड, बेसिकली हम ये बोलेंगे पेड़ मत काटो. ओके, डू नॉट कट ट्रीज. दैट्स व्हाट वी आर प्रोमोटिंग. उसके लिए हम आपको एक पॉइंट दे रहे हैं अगर बिल्डिंग कर रहा है तो. Use engineered wood products such as medium density fiberwood, MDF, LDF, plywood for making doors, door furnitures, door frames as applicable. आज applicable हम बता रहे हैं. ठीक, 1 point कर लीजिए. Engineered wood products should be free from urea formaldehyde resin. एक केमिकल होता है जो स्मेल आता है, जो लॉन्ग टर्म में बहुत खराब होता है. ठीक है. तो there are a lot of things like we are promoting low VOC paints, green paints. We are talking about it. यूज फॉर्मल्डिहाइड रेजिन्स. आप ये केमिकल मत यूज कीजिए, उसके जगह में कुछ और यूज कीजिए. जरूरत नहीं है, ऐसे मिलता है प्रोडक्ट्स मार्केट्स में. अब एनकरेज कीजिए उस चीज को. अननेसेसरी हर चीज में केमिकल यूज करके घर को कंटामिनेट करने की जरूरत है क्या? राइट नाउ वी ऑल आर स्टेइंग इंडोर्स. नाउ वी कैन अंडरस्टैंड द इंपोर्टेंस ऑफ इंडोर्स, राइट? कैसे, मतलब पैंडेमिक सिचुएशन literally it kind of emphasized on the fact that indoor and building in indoors are very much essential in your life. It's an eye opener in that case. So we have to make it sustainable. So how will make it sustainable? We have to decrease the use of any kind of chemicals wherever we can. अब अगर आप पेंट लगा रहे हैं, पेंट को आप मना नहीं कर सकते कि हम वॉल को पेंट नहीं करेंगे टू मेक इट सस्टेनेबल. नो, आप यूज पेंट बट यूज लो VOC बिकॉज वोलेटाइल ऑर्गेनिक कंपाउंड्स अगर रहेगा ज्यादा, उसका क्वांटिटी अगर ज्यादा रहेगा, देन इट विल मेक यू sick building syndrome, right? It was emphasized in one of the presentations today. Sick building syndrome. People get sick because of lack of daylights, lack of the use of chemicals, improper designs, right? So judicious use of hardwood and softwood back into this principle. So आप rapidly renewable materials use कर सकते हैं that constitute at least 10% of total cost of wood or wood products used in the project. The rapidly renewable materials include but not limited to straw, cotton, wheat, natural rubber, bamboo and बैम्बू. पहले हमारे बैम्बू बहुत यूज होते थे, बहुत सारे स्ट्रक्चर्स में अभी भी यूज होता है टू मेक इट एस्थेटिक. सो वी आर सेइंग ओके एस्थेटिकली यूज कीजिए, या फिर उससे थोड़ा बियॉन्ड जाके अगर देखिए, अगर डिजाइन बैम्बू हैज गुड स्ट्रेंथ इन टर्म्स ऑफ इंजीनियरिंग डिजाइन. lot of people use bamboo structures in design during the design, right? तो आप कर सकते हैं सब चीजों. ये कोई फैंसी आइडियाज नहीं है, these are quite practical. तो हम ये चीज को माइंड में रखेंगे. गोइंग द एक्स्ट्रा माइल्स, क्या एक्स्ट्रा कर सकते हैं आप प्रोजेक्ट के लिए, इको फ्रेंडली सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट के लिए. 3 पॉइंट्स का आप है. अगर जेम सर्टिफाइड प्रोफेशनल लाइक यू विल बी गिविंग द एग्जाम, यू विल बी जेम सर्टिफाइड प्रोफेशनल. और आप अगर एक प्रोजेक्ट करते हैं, आप ऐसे ही प्रोजेक्ट के लिए 1 पॉइंट ले आ रहे हैं, जेम should be involved in the process. 1 point. अगर 2 जन है कि उससे ज्यादा है तो 2 points. तो जेम सर्टिफाइड प्रोफेशनल्स have a lot of importance in not only in terms of ASSOCHAM GEM green building rating system, but slowly we're evolving into a lot of other things where GEM certified professionals will be required to be an integral part of it, जहाँ पे हम आप लोगों को कंट्रैक्ट शायद कर सकते हैं फ्यूचर में, अगर कुछ जो भी चीज चल रहा है. अपार्ट फ्रॉम दैट, लाइक आई टोल्ड यू, प्रोजेक्ट्स अगर आप कुछ देख रहे हैं आसपास में, आप हमको रिपोर्ट कर सकते हैं. वी कैन टुगेदर फाइंड समथिंग आउट कि हाँ, टुगेदर वी वांट टू मेक इट एन मूवमेंट, ग्रीन एंड इको फ्रेंडली मूवमेंट. आप लोग हमारे साथ चलिए, हम आपके साथ हैं. इस तरह से टुगेदर विल मेक ए बेटर वर्ल्ड, टुगेदर मेक ए बेटर स्पेस इनसाइड. बिल्डिंग का 5 एलिमेंट्स आपको समझ में आया, ऑल द 6 मॉड्यूल्स आपको समझ में ऑल्सो आया. तो अभी किशन जी, मिस्टर किशन खत्री विल बी joining me after this, and he will be taking you more into the technical sessions. What I wanted to try, what I tried is, I tried to inculcate an idea of what sustainability is, why 5 elements is, why it is required, why GEM certified professional is required, and generalist point of view एक पर्सपेक्टिव मैंने सेट किया आप लोगों के लिए, ताकि आप समझ सके कि सस्टेनेबिलिटी करना है क्यों. इसके बाद कुछ टेक्निकल कैलकुलेशन है which is required on BEE ECBC. That's Mr. Dhakar was referring. So let's go there. So the stage is yours, Mr. Khatri. Yes, sir.
Welcome, Mr. Kishan Khatri. So it's a wonderful presentation, Shubhaji, and we have received many questions in the question box, and I am since last 1.5 hours I am trying to answer all the questions. We will take the questions at the end also, and I would like to brief you on GEM CP examination and other queries. But before that, I would request you to please stay with us, and we have another wonderful speaker, Mr. Kishan Khatri, who is the manager, Sustainability Services, Design to Occupancy Services Private Limited, and he has wonderful experience of green buildings, energy audit, energy and water efficiency, waste management, and he is an expert in GEM green building certification projects. Has done many GEM green building certification projects, in fact. So he will be, teaching us on energy management best practices in GEM green building certification program, daylight and fresh air. So over to you, Kishan. Yeah. You have the presenter, right, Kishan? Yeah. We can see your screen. You are not audible.
Thank you for inviting.
Yeah. Now okay. Now okay.
Am I audible now?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much for inviting me on this platform. So before we start, these points which we will be discussing will be the visual comfort, the thermal comfort, and the fresh air quality. These are the very important part in any of the green building. So the presentation shared by Architect Leena, Architect Roshni, Professor Ray, they have given a very well presentation about the green concept. Initially, our ancestors used to build a building with the, where we do not need any air conditioning system. Even there, we can live very comfortably. But in today's time, we cannot build such kind of building because we need much more space. The materials are the constraint, and other constraints are there. Even though we can come closer to such buildings through the use of such rating system, GEM rating system is there, which is created and developed by ASSOCHAM organization. So this GEM rating is a bit more, we have very less calculation and very less effort to prove that your building is green. This is very good and USP of this rating system, that you do not need to go in that nitty-gritty. You don't need to do a very detailed calculation. How we can get comply with it, we'll go ahead. So first, if you find my voice to be cracking, do let me know. I will turn off my camera. So first point we have is about thermal comfort. The buildings which are residential building, the buildings which are non-residential building, every building, every type of building can go with the GEM rating system. You might have heard about the energy conservation building code. Every state, some state have mandated this code to implement. Now where it will be implemented, the building which are having the connected load of 100 kilowatt or more. Some states are defining it to be 50 kilowatt or more. So if you are complying with this requirement, if you have the area of 5,000 square feet or 10,000 square feet, understand your building is going to be compliant. It comes under the purview of the Ecbc. Now every state is going to mandate. Some states have already mandated it. That means your building, you have to comply with the Ecbc. Now what Ecbc is, that's very detailed book. We cannot complete in just few minutes, in 15 and 20 minutes, but a basic overview, what you require in qualifying the GEM examination, that we'll understand it over here. So energy conservation building code is basically for the commercial building, we can say non-residential building. So what commercial building says, that in Ecbc it is mentioned that you have to comply with some parameters. What parameters are there in a building? When we construct a building, we have architectural parameters, we have lighting parameters, we have air conditioning system, we have electrical system, and solar photovoltaic. The solar generation is there. So these are the basic area where the parameters have been targeted in the Ecbc. Now for the compliance of Ecbc, as now you all have to understand that Ecbc is mandatory. Understand it, Ecbc is mandatory. GEM rating system has inbuilt everything in it. If you comply with rating system, you are already complying with the Ecbc prescriptive requirement and whole building simulation method. There are some parameters. If you go through the book, I would request everyone to, after the session, please go through the book. It will be very technical. If you don't understand it, don't worry about it. Just go through about it. Section 4, Section 5, Section 6, and Section 7. Earlier, there was a version of Ecbc 2007. Now the version is Ecbc 2017. Now in Ecbc 2017, there is a Ecbc, Ecbc Plus, and Super Ecbc. You just have to concentrate on Ecbc building. Ecbc Plus and Super Ecbc are the advanced version, or we can say advanced requirement. If you really want to go ahead with voluntary, with the more energy efficiency, you can opt with the Ecbc Plus, you can opt with Super Ecbc as well. But when we focus about the mandatory requirement, the compliances, we'll focus on Ecbc part. So there are some mandatory requirements in the Ecbc, which I will show you in the next slide. If you can see the next slide, I will show it in the next slide. So mandatory requirements are there. After then, if you want to comply with Ecbc, you have to comply with either prescriptive method or you have to go with the whole building performance method. What a prescriptive method is? Let's take an example. When you go to a doctor for the health consultation, health checkup, they give you some medicines like tablet A you have to take one time, Tablet B, you have to take 2 times a day. Tablet C, you have to take 3 times a day. You cannot reduce down. Whatever doctor has, consulted, whatever doctor has prescribed, you have to take that thing. Similarly, this is the approach have been taken in the prescriptive method. Some parameters are there which are mandatory. You have to follow that. But when additionally when you comply with the prescriptive method as well, some parameters are already given. You have to comply with that parameter. As I explained you, in the case of doctor, they prescribed few parameters. Similarly, ECBC prescribes some parameter. You have to follow that. No option. Now, there could be chances that you are not able to comply with any of the parameters. There are lots of parameters. Due to some reason, some constraint, you might not be able to comply with that requirement. You can go with the whole building simulation. Now, here what will happen? Tablet A was prescribed for 1 time a day. You are taking 2 times a day. Tablet B was prescribed 2 times a day. You are taking it 1 time a day. Tablet C was prescribed 3 times a day. You are taking 5 times a day. Now tablet A will have some effect. Tablet B will have some effect. Tablet C will have some effect. But you will not be able to quantify it. Simulation tool, energy simulation tools are there to perform, to identify this effect, not of the tablets, but the parameters which are mentioned in the ECBC. So ECBC prescriptive method, the parameters are there. You have to check how much effect is there if I reduce down the value, whatever it was given in the ECBC, or if I increase the parameter. Overall, how much I am saving the energy. This is what it is there in whole building simulation method. So this whole building simulation, I hope you would have understood it. And these are two things in the approach for the compliance of ECBC. There is a thing called EPI ratio. Now, what EPI is basically, this term is also very important because you may find this this terminology in the examination as well. EPI is basically energy performance index. How much energy is being consumed in a building in 1 year per square meter or per square feet. This is your EPI, right? So total energy consumption, you will say my building is not constructed. How I can identify what my energy consumption is? Through the use of software, through the use of energy simulation tool, you can identify, you can predict that what your building will be consuming, what your building, how much the energy consumption your building will be consuming. So divide the, if you put the kilowatt hour, units are kWh, energy is measured in kWh, kilowatt hour, total kilowatt hour, divide by your built up area, your all flow area, you just add your all flow area and you will get the value. This is a yearly calculation. We can say year-wise calculation it is done. That means in 1 year, how much energy consumption was done, how much consumption was there per square feet or per square meter. This is what the energy consumption EPI value is called. When you compare your EPI with the baseline EPI, what the baseline EPI says, baseline is what your energy code suggests. Now energy code says that EPI value should be this. So baseline EPI says some value about it, and if you follow
Kishan, are you there?
sorry.
Yeah.
Yes. Sorry.
You can switch off your video. I mean, if you, yeah.
Okay.
Audio quality will improve.
All right. All right. Just a minute, sir. Okay. So here we can see that EPI ratio is basically your the performance of your building with the baseline building. As similarly I explained, as similarly what the performance we calculate in EPI of your building, we can similarly create a virtual building considering the parameters which are given in the book for the baseline model. So now you can compare your building, the energy consumption of your building should be very less or should be less than what energy consumption is of your baseline building. This is the concept. Your energy consumption should be less than the baseline model energy consumption. Now, what if I have a residential building? If I have a residential building, I have some parameters to, I cannot follow the Ecbc because Ecbc is for commercial building. For residential building, GEM itself has created some baseline parameter. If you see the glazing parameter, shading coefficient is given. And if shading coefficient, if you are improving your shading coefficient of the glass, you will get 2 points. Similarly, for the case of wall, if you are improving your wall quality, you have to meet the U value of 1.5 watt per meter square Kelvin. If you are reducing it further, you can get 2 more points. So you can see this value is not required to remember if you are going for the examination. So, but you can see if you improve the wall thermal overall heat transfer, if you improve the roof assembly, you can get 2 more points. This is how this rating system encourage you to reduce down the energy consumption, and accordingly you will get rewarded with the points. There is value given for the LPD, lighting power density. In particular area, if you reduce down the number of lighting fixtures, you may get some more points. This is what LPD is. Similarly, if you are going to install air conditioning system with some pumps, in the case if it is centralized chiller system, your pumps and motors should have the efficiency of more than 3-star or 3-star. If it is 3-star, that is your mandatory requirement. That's the essential part. If it is 4-star or 5-star, you will again be rewarded with additional 2 points. So this is a whole structure is created for the GEM rating system. See, you can in the front of the screen, you can see an overview of Ecbc. It is a very detailed book. It cannot be completed within 5 to 10 minutes or 15 minutes, but overall, let's see what things are there. How I can make an energy efficient building? First, you have to reduce the demand. The demand, how demand can be reduced? I will give a small example. When you go to purchase the air conditioning system for your particular bedroom or living room, what vendor says or asks you that, do you have your roof exposed? Do you have your wall exposed? How much big area it is? This is what they say. How much lighting fixtures are there? This is what they say. Accordingly, they will define you, okay, sir, you can go with a 1.5 ton AC or you can go with 2 ton AC. If it is open roof, they will suggest you to go for 2 ton AC. If it is not exposed and above the roof there is another floor, they may suggest you 1.5 ton. That means your capacity or demand has reduced. It indicates if you are constructing a very efficient envelope. Envelope comes, what thing comes under envelope? Walls, roof, and your window glass. If you are improving the quality of these parameters of wall and roof and glass, or the lighting power density, because light also release the heat as a byproduct. If you reduce these things, if you improve this quality, your demand can be reduced. So first step always should be to reduce the demand. Once you reduce the demand, taking same example, if you are going for 5-star AC, your energy consumption will be less. If you are going for 3-star AC, your energy consumption will be higher than the 5-star rating system. In this way, you can opt a energy efficient system. In third part, once you're done with these two steps, then only think about the offset through renewables. That means solar photovoltaic, or if there is a provision of wind tower or any other renewable sources, you can go with that thing. And once the solar is also installed, then optimally use building the lighting fixtures. Whenever light fixtures are required, turn it on. Wherever the air conditioning is required, then turn it on, otherwise turn it off. These are part of a building operations. So this is the whole process of making a building energy efficient to reduce down the energy consumption. So what Ecbc focused on? Ecbc focused on part 1, part 2, and part 3. See, the envelope part, if you provide insulation on roof and wall, if you provide shading, good value of shading coefficient of windows, or if you provide the shading on windows, it can also be very effective. The selection of glass, the daylight, These all are part of the envelope. ECBC is not only where only architect can do the work, where only electrical engineer can do the work. Everyone has to work together, and this is called as the integrated approach to project delivery. So coming to next, that is lighting, reduce artificial light. How we can reduce the artificial light? If you have noted CFL of 40 watt and LED of 20 watt, you will find the output is almost similar. So this is how you can reduce down the wattages. You can reduce down the artificial lighting. In the daytime, if the daylight is good, you can reduce the energy consumption through the lighting fixtures. This is how you can do. Low power density, this is the same thing. If you use the LED system, your wattage will be reduced, your lighting power density will be reduced. Control system, if my office is there, if my sensors are there, what I can do is whenever I will go inside my office space, the light will be turned on. When I will come out from the office, the lighting system will be turned off. Automatically it will turn off because the control systems. These control systems are also very important, and these are mentioned in the ECBC itself. When coming to third point, that's HVAC. So system sizing reduced compared to conventional. How we can reduce down the system size? The example which I given you of 2 ton AC to 1.5 ton AC is a system size only. We were talking and we were taking example of one room only. But when we talk about very big building, multiple rooms, multiple offices, now see how much size we can reduce it through a very good strategically approach of improving the envelope. Similarly, efficient system, control system, system balancing, these all are the part of air conditioning system. When systems are installed, when chiller system is installed, we have closed circuit, we have open loop circuit for the condenser and chill water system. That water is to be balanced, the air AHU which we have commissioned, we need to balance that. What the balancing is, whatever it is there in design case, we need to check whether it is correctly commissioned or not. That everything we need to check in the HVAC, and this is what it is there in ECBC. Similar way for the electrical part, 4th point, efficient equipment motors. That means you use the B star 3, 4, 5 rated motors. Power factor correction. In the conventional buildings, you might have heard that if your power factor is going below 0.9, you will find some penalty. That means you will see, okay, 0.91 is good, 0.92 is good. No, if you are going for ECBC compliance, you have to go with minimum 0.97 power factor. So 0.957 is power factor, which is a minimum requirement. Similar way for transformer, DG set, distribution system, this all have some parameters to be focused on. The other part, the last part is about service water heating and renewable system. The service water heater, that means the solar water system only at the hospitals, when you have the hotel buildings. In such kind of buildings only you need to put the solar hot water system. In office system, in office building, you do not need to provide the solar hot water system. And to provide a space for the future commissioning of solar photovoltaic, it is not mandatory to provide. I mean, in ECBC, if you provide the solar photovoltaic system, you will definitely get the points in the generating system. Coming to next. Is about the transformer. The transformer is checked, efficiency is checked at whenever it is at 50% load and 100% load and no load. At these 3 stages, you can check how much losses are there, and you can compare these losses with the ECBC guideline, and you can see how much good and efficient your transformer is. Similarly, for the motors, whatever the motors are, we should go ahead with the IE2 efficiency or IE3 efficiency or IE4 efficiency. Higher the IE2 value, IE value is, the more the efficient the system is. Similarly, for B 3-star rated or B4 or B 5-star rated can be selected for the motors. This is what it is given in the GEM rating system. Install on-site solar photovoltaic system. Whatever your contract demand is, if you provide the solar photovoltaic of 5% of your contract demand, that means let's say it's 100 kV is your demand, and if you provide the 5 kilowatt of solar photovoltaic, then that means you can comply with some points. Similarly, if you are increasing the capacity of solar photovoltaic to up to 25%, you will get much more points. If you do not have the space on your site, you can install somewhere else near to site and also get the points. In that case, you have to install the capacity a bit more higher capacity. Minimum is 10% and highest is 30%. Accordingly, you will get the points under the GEM rating system. One more point is there. You can see in the note, industrial projects. You all must be knowing that in industrial projects, we have the process loads. The machineries are there, which are either it can be anything, any machinery could be there for processing, for the process of the factories. We need to ignore that point. We need to ignore that. We need to only consider non-process part to calculate the contract demand. So to reduce the dependency on exhaustible fossil fuel, this solar system should be used. Coming to natural light, that's a visual comfort. This, when the natural light is there, definitely our efficiency of productivity always increases. But only the human productivity is not the only concern, but energy is also the concern. Now you can see in the front of the screen, the lighting fixtures are installed, but they are not turned on because they're not switched on because okay, just a minute. Okay. Okay, so in this natural light, we can use two type of system. Two type of methods are there. One is simulation method, one is manual method. In the simulation method, you have to use some tools. The tools could be your Ecotag, your Radiance, your SIPE is the tool. This will help you to identify how much area is delit. And if you comply with the Ecbc requirement, that is a 40%, you will get the compliance of Ecbc and GEM rating. If you are increasing the delit area, you will get more 2 points, and additionally, the points will be rewarded. So when natural light is available in the space, then artificial light can be switched off. It saves a lot of energy consumption. Sensors can play a very vital role. Third point is ECB 2017. That is all about the area. 40% area should be deleted. And fourth point is about the software which you can use. You can use any of the software from this. Also, you can use other softwares as well, like SIPE and other thing. What about air quality? You must be knowing that Chandigarh you will find a very good place. But again, in the Chandigarh also, we have this record has been come up that the PM 2.5 level itself is increasing 572 in daytime, 360 in nighttime, which should be not more than 60 value. Now you can see how the air quality is getting getting bad. So to control that, what we need to do is we need to provide very fresh air. We need to provide some good air. Now, when you are sitting in a closed room and you do not have a fresh air, after some time you will feel suffocated because of the carbon dioxide is being ejected, and that carbon dioxide, if the concentration is increased, you will feel suffocated. To control that, you need to provide some fresh air from outside with the filters. The filter is called as a MERV filters, MERV. This you may get in the examination. Minimum energy rated value, that is the MERV. So MERV value 8 is the minimum required, which will filter the fresh air and that will inject the air inside your room. So some quantity is required. The question can come that if I'm injecting more fresh air, that means my energy consumption should be very high. And if I'm putting very less fresh air, I may get suffocated. So ASHRAE 62.1 has come into picture. ASHRAE 62.1 says about some fresh air to take according to percent, according to square feet area, and accordingly you can identify the minimum quantity of fresh air which are required, which can be very balanced way, and you can inject this fresh air. Similarly, you can provide the CO2 monitoring. This CO2 monitoring system can be there to check whether your ppm level, the CO2 level is increasing or decreasing, and if you are providing a bit more fresh air, you will get more points. This is what basically a sustainable building, sustainable building has some effect. CO2 emissions you will reduce around 35%. This could be a plus minus. In some building the value would be less, in some building the value would be a bit high, but averagely we can say the water saving can be 40%, energy use can be 50%, solid waste can be 70%. This is how a green building, a gem rating building can be giving advantage to any owner of the building. This is the intelligent real-time display on dashboard. ASSOCHAM has created such kind of artificial intelligence-based cloud computing analysis. You can check and see, you can feed the data from your energy meters, and you can identify your building, how the building is performing. This is this kind of tool you can check with the help of ASSOCHAM and these apps which I've created particularly for the green rating system. And you can opt voluntarily. It is not mandatory, but you can opt and you can identify, monitor your buildings very efficiently. So this was all about the gem, about the three parts. One is visual comfort, thermal comfort, the fresh air quality. This in the front of screen, you can see the certified professional examination. I hope this kind of certificate is available whenever you crack the examination. I'm not sure about the fees. You can contact the GEM executive for the fees, but this is how the certificate is visible for the GEM, once you are GEM certified professional. I will show you one thing, that once you crack the examination, this is how the, I hope my screen is visible, this is how the names are visible on the website. I can find my name over here because I have cracked the examination, so my name is there. Similarly, if you crack the examination, you can find your name on the website. So this is a very good strategy for, because for other owners of the, if you are consulting any of the owners, if your name is visible, definitely other participants or other developers can identify the name and they can contact you. And this is a good strategy which we also appreciate. So all from my side, thank you so much, Neeraj sir, and the ASSOCHAM team. Thank you.
Thank you, Kishan, for the wonderful presentation, and you covered very technical part, the energy management credit and the daylight and fresher credit. So it was wonderfully done, and I have received many compliments on the chat box and question box. Everybody is appreciating this webinar. So thank you so much for your overwhelming response, dear attendees. And I would like to share with you that still there is 500 plus attendees attending this webinar. So I'm really very much happy, and my gratitude to all of you. Now we have our another special speaker, Mr. Ashok Gupta, with us. Mr. Ashok Gupta is the executive member of ASSOCHAM GEM Executive Committee, is the chairman for ASSOCHAM GEM Projects Committee, and is the managing partner Design to Occupancy Services Limited. And Ashu is very much active in various societies like ISHRE, ASHRE, FSCI, IAQA, ISLE, and GEM as well. And he has done more than, I think, 200 plus projects. Ashu, if I'm right, he has done more than 200 plus green building certification projects, energy audits, energy simulation, and other various kinds of audit. So he has lots of experience of Ecbc trainings and other trainings. So we have specially requested Ashu to spare his time for 10 minutes to motivate our students. So Ashu, floor is yours. Over to you.
All right, sir. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to interact with the people, and who are actually the young green people, which is the young. Just 30 minutes ago, I was doing a session for ASHRE Chandigarh chapter, and where the more than 300 people attended the program. And today in this session, I can see the 600 people were there, and of course, I can see more than 500 at this moment. So guys, the intent, I want to tell you why we are attending this. What is the benefit of that? Please understand, I'm a mechanical engineer, graduated in 2008. The recession was bad that time, and same, I think, the worst at this moment also. And always the people get confused that when they become an engineer or an architect, they have a same line. They need to work as a design, or they need to go in the automobile industry, or they need to go in the IT industry. This is something which is the need of an hour, and entire world is facing a crisis, and that crisis is climate crisis. When we talk about a climate change, entire world is talking about it. I'm not sure how many of you follow the climate change conferences, or in Twitter you follow the climate talks, but every word, every country is talking about the carbon neutral country by 2050. And already there are the more than 45 countries has taken a target to become a carbon neutral. And how can we become a carbon neutral? The first step to become the efficient, the resource efficient, and which the ASSOCHAM GEM, when I'm sure most of you have learned during this program that explained by Shobha, Kishan and other speakers, the resource efficiency, either it is a water, energy. When I talked about most of the time in the green building is from the 5 elements of the nature: Jal, Vayu, Agni, Prithvi, Akash. If you actually save these 5 elements, you make a green building. So, and of course, when we are seeing this, so this is, we need to resource. These are the resources which we have to save. And by doing these credentials, because in last 13 years of my experience, I have done more than 300 projects, and I proudly say that because of these credentials which I had, I got to know the new technologies which are coming up. So building industry emit a 40% carbon emission to the environment. It is the most polluted when we talk about the carbon emission wise. So we need to reduce those carbon emission, and sustainability is only the way to reduce that. So there is a huge demand. In parallel, today in morning, I was attending a session from Solar Decathlon where the more than 1,000 students were participating in India. And actually the students' quality, when we're talking about the net zero building, they are designing the net zero commercial building, residential building. So the way become a net zero, the first step to make a building green, because in India, the conventional building which we are making, that is consuming a lot of energy and water and a lot polluted air. It's still the unfortunate part when I see whatever the construction happening is only the 4 to 5%. I did a study for World Bank last month for Crystal, and we got to know that only the 4 to 5% construction is going green, and there is a potential that 95% or can go more green, but the people are not there. Only the 1,000 or 2,000 people in India, how can they cater the 1.35 billion population? So we need more and more engineers and the architects who come forward to become a sustainable professional to make a green India. And this is the service, guys, I'm telling you, because I started my company as a startup. Right now we are around 100 people who are working, and I found that this is the white collar job when you enter this industry, and you can work entire around the globe. You should not only focus in India. We have population of 7.5 billion people in around the globe. We can focus in any country, and still my 60% business comes from the US or the Canada or those countries, because India is growing. We are the construction right now is 40%. Whatever we seeing as in India, this is estimated by 2040. 60% India will be built up. So that is not right now available. The 60% will be next 20 years. So that is the reason, guys, this industry is growing. I would encourage you to come in the sustainable era. Sustainability is the need of an hour, and these 10 years is the climate change decade, and all of us need to work in that direction. So you can follow me on LinkedIn. You can see my post on that how the technologies are coming up with my name. So I think this is something I want to share with all of you to become a GEM CP. Because GEM CP is something, the training which we have got today, that is good enough to understand and just go through the book. The exam is simple and you will get more learning, because a lot of people always say why credential is important. Credential is always important. When your name is written somewhere and after the name is written GEM CP, the people will recognize your credential, and that is something is required. And so I would encourage, because credential always matter when either you are working as an employee or employer, your credibility get increased. So please become a GEM CP, and of course it is the start of the career in sustainability. Be part of the GEM society, like do the GEM projects in whenever you are consulting with any client. Please bring the GEM projects forward, and of course Mr. ASSOCHAM team is there to back in entire support of that. So thank you so much, Neeraj sir, to giving me opportunity to share my feedback to my experience with the people. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ashu. Thank you so much for the wonderful message. And very rightly said. So why these GEM certified professional, examination is required, or why such GEM CP credential is required? So I have received many similar questions on the question box, and I would like to answer. I have answered most of the questions in the question box, but I would like to answer it here again. So friends, first of all, this GEM certified professional exam is an online exam. This is an open book exam. You can register today itself and you can take the examination anytime in future. I mean, say after 2 months also. Friends, our intent is not to, examine you or not to fail you. Our intent is to teach you so that you will learn these aspects of sustainability, energy and water efficiency, waste management, because this is required in each and every organization you will be working in future or you are working right now. Ashu has attended some of the meetings of ours with MOEF. So MOEF is now, coming forward, and they have understood the requirement of green certified professionals. I mean, in fact, yesterday only we were attending a meeting with MOEF secretary, and we were discussing. MOEF is coming up with certified environmental auditors, environmental professionals, in fact. So we had requested the MOEF secretary that the GEM certified professionals we are creating, these GEM certified professionals should get benefit in that certifying examination also. So he has assured us that the GEM certified professional and other green building certified professionals and other energy auditors will definitely get some benefit in certified environmental auditor examination also. So rightly said. So friends, I would request you to go for these kind of green certification. Not only GEM, you can go for IGBC as well, GRIHA as well, LEED as well. And I'm also an IGBC certified professional, GEM certified professional, LEED certified professional. I'm an energy auditor as well. So these credentials will definitely help you in making your career wherever you are working or you will be working. Nowadays, the industries are also giving preference to the candidates, those who have such kind of certificates, GEM certification kind of, other than their regular degree. So this is a very simple examination, open book, online examination. You can take the examination anytime. There is no need to go to the examination center or so. So the benefit of registering today is that for some time, for today, we have very discounted fee, rupees 3,000 plus taxes for students, faculties and professional. So you can register today. Tomorrow onwards, the fee will be 4,000 for students and 5,000 for professionals. So take the benefit of this and register yourself for GEM CP. The another question which I have received on the question box is what is the difference between GEM and other programs? So friends, first of all, all other speakers have already mentioned GEM is the only program in the country which is based upon Ecbc 2017 and NBC 16 guidelines. This is the only program which has fire and life safety also in the program. Also in GEM CP, we have removed all the credits which tells you to use the foreign certified imported materials. So we have removed such kind of requirements from the book which force you to use the imported certified materials. So it's a pure indigenous program made for India and by the Indian architects, Indian professionals, Indian engineers. And most part is that we have removed all the calculations from the program, so that there is not any chance of doing any kind of manipulation in the program. It's a very simple, straightforward program, and this is why in last just 3 years this program has made rapid strides. We have done more than 100 projects in just 3 years. We have 1,000 plus GEM certified professionals, and we have around 700 plus architects and professionals associated with us from various states. So I would request you all to please register for GEM CP today only. Thank you so much. And before ending to the webinar, I would like to extend my gratitude, my vote of thanks to our special experts of the day, starting with Mr. Pankaj Dharkar, Architect Leena Ji, Professor S.S. Ray, Architect Roshni Udewar, Mr. Shubhabrata Rath, Mr. Ashu Gupta, and Mr. Kishan Khatri for wonderful training and session. Thank you so much. And friends, as you all know that we are passing through a pandemic. We have never seen such a pandemic in our life, and we won't want to see it again. So in our programs, we would like to give you a message that please follow these guidelines, put mask, use sanitizer, keep distancing, and go for vaccination as far as possible. So please follow these guidelines and keep yourself and your family, your friends, stay safe. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Now, I would request Amit to please officially close the program. Thank you so much, dear delegates, for attending. Thank you.
Thank you.